We are doing real projects for real homeowners still. And my co-hosts, if you will, are all professional contractors. I'm the only person on the talent side.
3 minutes ago, everything changed for this old house fans. Kevin O'Connor, the man who held the show together for over 20 years, has just broken his silence. His calm voice, the one that guided millions through every broken wall and dusty renovation, now carries a message no one expected. The man behind the hammer. For more than 20 years, Kevin O'Connor has been the calm, friendly face that millions of homeowners trusted on this old house. Every time he appeared on screen, there was something reassuring about his voice. But behind that warm smile was a man who never planned to be on television. Kevin's life wasn't built around cameras or scripts. It was built on hard work, quiet learning, and a bit of luck that changed everything. When this old house first began in 1979, it was already an American favorite. By the time Kevin joined, it had been running for more than 2 decades and had become a symbol of craftsmanship and honesty. People watched it not just to see homes being fixed, but to understand how things worked. And Kevin became the bridge between professionals and ordinary people watching from their living rooms. Every episode showed his curiosity. He asked the questions most of us wanted to ask, but didn't know how to phrase. He wasn't a builder or a contractor when he started, but he understood what it meant to want your home to feel right. He didn't speak like an expert. He spoke like a friend who was figuring it out with you. As the years passed, Kevin turned into more than just a host. He became the heart of the show. His kindness, patience, and humor made even the most complicated renovation seem doable. People across generations grew up watching him, trusting his advice, and finding comfort in his calm explanations. Under his guidance, this old house didn't just survive, it grew stronger, moving into podcasts, magazines, and streaming platforms while keeping its original soul. But recently, whispers started spreading online. Fans began noticing small changes, fewer appearances, new faces, subtle shifts. Social media buzzed with one big question. Was Kevin O'Connor about to leave this old house? After all these years, could he really be stepping away from the show that defined his career? It's hard to imagine the show without him. For many, he isn't just a host. He's a teacher, a friend, and the voice that turned complicated tools and blueprints into something anyone could understand. And yet, change is something even the strongest foundations can't escape. Let's rewind and take a look at some hidden parts of Connor's life. Building blocks. A childhood in sawdust. Long before the cameras and bright lights, Kevin O'Connor's story began in the quiet town of Maplewood, New Jersey. He grew up in a big family, 7 children under one roof, with laughter, noise, and the constant sound of hammering somewhere in the distance. His father was a civil engineer, the kind of man who believed in building things with his hands and solving problems with patience. While other kids played ball in the streets, Kevin and his brothers were more likely to be helping their dad on job sites, surrounded by boards, sawdust, and tools that seemed almost magical. From those early years, Kevin's love for the built world began to grow. He learned that every beam, every nail, every wall had a purpose. It wasn't just about making a house look good. It was about understanding how it stood strong through time. He often said later that working with his hands felt more natural than sitting behind a desk. Those long summer days helping his father weren't just chores. They were lessons in patience, detail, and pride in hard work. At school, Kevin was bright and curious. He graduated from St. Benedict's Preparatory School in Newark in 1986, then went on to the College of the Holy Cross, where he studied history. It might sound like an unusual choice for someone who loved construction, but history gave him something just as valuable: the ability to see how people and ideas evolve over time. After college, Kevin took another unexpected turn and enrolled at Boston University, earning his MBA in 1999. While his childhood was all about sawdust and job sites, his 20s were about business suits and boardrooms. He entered the banking world, working first at Fleet Bank and later at Bank of America. His sharp mind and leadership helped him rise quickly to the role of senior vice president. But deep down, Kevin knew that the world of finance didn't stir his heart the way building something real once did. Even during his college summers, he found himself drawn back to construction work to earn extra money. It was as if those job site memories refused to fade away. Something inside him missed the simplicity of building with his hands, the smell of freshly cut wood, and the satisfaction of seeing progress happen right in front of him. Kevin had no idea that life was slowly preparing him for something far beyond banking, something that would combine both his worlds. The careful thinking of business and the creativity of craftsmanship were about to meet in the most unexpected way. One simple, small decision would soon turn everything upside down. A problem that started in his own home would lead him down a road he could never have planned. The wallpaper that changed everything. It was the year 2002 when Kevin and his wife, Kathleen, bought a charming old Victorian home just north of Boston. The house had a story of its own, built in 1894, full of creaky floors, tall windows, and, of course, more renovation problems than they ever imagined. They loved its character, but like many old homes, it needed love, patience, and a lot of elbow grease. Kevin wasn't afraid of hard work. After all, he'd grown up around tools. But one problem nearly broke their confidence, layers upon layers of stubborn wallpaper that refused to come off. They tried everything, steamers, scrapers, and chemicals, yet the wallpaper just clung to the walls, as if it had a mind of its own. Out of frustration, Kevin decided to write a simple letter to Ask This Old House, a spin-off of the legendary show he had watched for years. He didn't expect much, maybe a bit of advice, maybe a call from someone on the team, but what he got instead changed his entire life. Weeks later, a small crew showed up at his door. The team included Jim Clark, a painting contractor, and Tom Silva, a general contractor who was already a fan favorite. They brought not just tools, but also cameras. The episode was meant to help homeowners like Kevin solve common renovation issues. As the filming began, something clicked. Kevin wasn't shy. He asked thoughtful questions, laughed with the crew, and genuinely wanted to learn. There was something natural about the way he interacted on camera. The producers noticed it right away. Kevin wasn't acting. He was being himself. Curious, humble, and relatable. While others might have been nervous in front of cameras, Kevin looked completely at ease. The audience loved him too. His short segment aired as part of Season 1, Episode 22 of Ask This Old House, and the response was incredible. Just a few weeks later, the phone rang again. This time, it was the show's producers asking him a surprising question. "Kevin, would you be interested in hosting This Old House?" He thought it was a temporary offer, maybe just a season or two, so he even asked his boss at Bank of America to hold his position open, just in case. But that one call turned into a life-changing opportunity. In April 2003, at only 34 years old, Kevin became the third host of This Old House, following legends like Bob Vila and Steve Thomas. It was a massive leap from banking to television, from offices to construction sites. But Kevin brought something new to the show, the voice of the everyday homeowner. He wasn't pretending to be an expert. He was learning alongside the viewers. His first day on set marked the start of a new chapter, not just for him, but for the show itself. The man who once struggled with wallpaper was now leading America through every kind of renovation challenge. from novice to the nation's favorite host. When Kevin O'Connor officially stepped into the host's role in 2003, he was stepping onto sacred ground. This old house wasn't just another TV show, it was a beloved American institution. For decades, people had grown up watching Bob Vila and Steve Thomas rebuild homes and teach lessons that felt both practical and personal. Fans didn't just follow the show, they trusted it. So when a new face appeared, a former banker with no television experience, not everyone was thrilled. At first, Kevin felt the pressure. Viewers compared him to the legends who came before him. Some doubted that a man from finance could understand the spirit of craftsmanship. But Kevin knew that pretending to be an expert would only make him fake. So instead, he chose to be himself, curious, humble, and honest. He positioned himself as a learner, the voice of the average homeowner who just wanted to understand what the pros were doing. From the first episode, his energy felt different. He didn't talk down to the audience, he spoke with them. His questions were simple but meaningful. Why do we use this material instead of that one? What's the best way to make sure this lasts another 100 years? They had decades of experience, and Kevin watched them closely, learning their methods and mastering the language of renovation. He wasn't just the guy holding the microphone, he was getting his hands dirty, lifting boards, sanding surfaces, and crawling under floors when needed. His dedication quickly paid off. During his very first season as host, Kevin earned an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Service Show Host. It was a sign that the audience had accepted him, not as a replacement, but as a fresh voice. Over time, he didn't just host This Old House. He also led its spin-offs like Ask This Old House and Inside This Old House. By 2011, he had even published his first book, The Best Homes from This Old House, which gave fans a deeper look into the show's most memorable projects. Still, the more the show grew under his leadership, the more challenges appeared behind the curtain. The world was changing, television was evolving, audiences were shrinking, and new platforms were rising. Yet, through it all, Kevin stood steady, keeping the show's integrity intact. The legacy he built. By the time This Old House reached its fourth decade on air, Kevin O'Connor had become far more than just its host, he had become its heartbeat. When he took over in 2003, few imagined that this former banker would one day lead the show into its most successful era. But under his guidance, This Old House transformed from a traditional PBS program into a modern, multi-platform brand that reached millions around the world. Kevin's calm voice and steady approach gave the show a timeless quality. He never rushed the process or chased drama for attention. Instead, he focused on what mattered: real homes, real problems, and real craftsmanship. His ability to simplify complex projects made viewers feel capable, as if they too could take on the impossible. Over the years, Kevin and his team introduced new technology, green building techniques, and creative designs that reflected how homes and families were changing in the 21st century. Under Kevin's watch, the show earned more than 100 Emmy nominations and 20 wins. In 2022, This Old House received one of its greatest honors, a Lifetime Achievement Emmy. Standing alongside longtime experts like Tom Silva and Richard Trethewey, Kevin accepted the award with humility. He didn't claim the spotlight for himself. Instead, he said the success belonged to everyone who had ever picked up a hammer or watched the show for inspiration. Beyond television, Kevin also became a passionate advocate for trade education. He frequently visited schools and vocational programs, encouraging young people to see the trades not just as jobs, but as careers that build communities. He even hosted the podcast Clear Story, where he explored how architecture and home design shape the way we live. His efforts helped remind a new generation that craftsmanship still mattered in a fast, digital world. Meanwhile, This Old House expanded its reach like never before. It launched digital tutorials, a popular magazine, and streaming platforms that allowed people to binge episodes anytime. Kevin's thoughtful leadership kept the show relevant without losing its heart. Whether he was in a centuries-old farmhouse or a newly built home, he treated each project with the same curiosity and care. Was this the natural next step? Or was something quietly happening behind the scenes that fans didn't yet know about? Kevin himself never addressed it directly, but longtime viewers could sense it. A quiet shift, a pause between words, as if he was preparing for something new, breaking the silence. As the years rolled on, the internet began to buzz with one burning question. Was Kevin O'Connor leaving this old house? Fans who had watched him for over 2 decades started noticing small changes in recent episodes. Kevin seemed to appear less on camera. New experts and younger craftspeople were taking on more screen time. The editing style felt different, the pacing quicker. To loyal viewers, it all felt like signs that something was shifting behind the scenes. Then came the YouTube videos. Channels began posting dramatic titles like "Kevin O'Connor quits this old house" and "The real reason Kevin is leaving the show." Thumbnails showed sad faces, red arrows, and headlines designed to spark panic. On Reddit, long threads filled with speculation grew by the day. Some users claimed that the show was grooming a successor. Others believed Kevin wanted to step away to spend more time with his family. For fans who had welcomed him into their homes for 20 years, the rumors felt personal, almost like losing a friend. But Kevin stayed silent for a while. He never rushed to correct the noise, never fed the drama. Then, finally, in a short online video, he decided to speak for himself. Sitting in a simple room with his usual calm and friendly tone, he addressed his viewers directly. "I've seen the rumors," he said, smiling softly, "and I understand why people are curious. But no, I'm not leaving this old house anytime soon." His words were clear, but his tone carried something deeper: reflection. Kevin admitted that after so many years, it was natural for fans to wonder what might come next. He even said that change is a part of every long journey. But for now, he had no plans to leave. It was a classic Kevin response, honest, composed, and without drama. The reaction was instant. Thousands of comments poured in, many expressing relief. "We can't imagine the show without you, Kevin," one fan wrote. Another said, "You're the reason I started fixing things around my house." Yet, beneath all the relief, a quiet uncertainty remained. Some felt that Kevin's calm explanation sounded more like a gentle goodbye than a simple reassurance. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the show continued to evolve. Younger builders and hosts were indeed getting more screen time, and the production team was testing new formats to attract modern audiences. It wasn't hard to imagine that this old house might soon begin preparing for another transition, one that would need to be handled with care, the house that time built. For more than 4 decades, this old house has stood as a symbol of trust, patience, and craftsmanship. It began back in 1979 with Bob Vila walking through dusty rooms, teaching Americans that fixing a home was something anyone could learn to do. Over the years, the show evolved, just like the homes it restored, from Bob Vila to Steve Thomas, and then to Kevin O'Connor, each era carrying its own style but keeping the same heart. And through Kevin's leadership, that heart never stopped beating. Kevin became more than a host. He became part of the show's identity. Under his calm guidance, this old house expanded beyond television screens. It grew into a magazine, a digital library, and even a YouTube channel that reached younger audiences across the world. What was once a simple home improvement show had turned into a global storytelling brand. Generations learned not just how to repair walls or install tiles, but how to care for something they built with their own hands. But now, as television changes faster than ever, the show faces new challenges. The world of entertainment is shifting from long episodes to quick clips, from TV to streaming, from patient viewers to fast-scrolling audiences. Kevin has watched this transformation closely. He knows that to stay alive, this old house must adapt without losing its soul. For him, that balance is everything. To honor the loyal viewers who have followed for decades, while inviting younger ones to join the journey. The day will come when he hangs up his tool belt for the last time. When that moment arrives, it won't just mark the end of a career. It will mark the passing of a tradition, from one storyteller to another. And though fans might feel a deep ache, they'll also know that the foundation Kevin built is too strong to crumble. What do you think? Is Kevin O'Connor truly preparing to step away? Or is this just the internet stirring up stories again? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.